Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We're live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and on Rumble. Producer Chugs back behind the scenes once again. You can always type in F Chugs in the comment section. We're going to begin with the pinned poll, though, on today's Facebook and YouTube streams. Is Ezekiel Elliott washed up? Is he cooked? Y for yes, N for no. I'm very curious how this poll goes. I bring it back up because there was a new report saying he looked pretty washed, which wasn't really all that new, but we'll break it down anyway. And the fact that some of the Zeke truthers, which do exist, Jeremy, found one of my tweets and are mad online at it. So, is Zeke washed up? Y for yes, N for no. As it sits in the early stages, 68% say yes. I'm not sure if I want to use my serious. I'm not going to yet. I'm not going to use my serious answers only Jeremy question. But what do you think about Ezekiel at this point? Does he still have it anymore, Chugs?
Oh, I mean, the answer's got to be no, right? Like, we all watched the same playoff game.
We watched the final games down the stretch this year.
We all saw the 49ers game. If you watch that game and you are still holding out hope that Zeke can be a workhorse back or be a lead back, then your name might be Ray Charles. Because no way you were actually watching the game.
Some of the people who are voting no are saying he can still be productive in like short yardage, blocking, etc. Which is fair.
I mean,
but that role's not valuable.
So was Mike Tolbert.
I forget who it was in the live chat. Someone was, or maybe it was a DM, whatever it was. Someone was like, pay him whatever Mike Tolbert got his final year. Or down the stretch when he got paid. He's not the same guy that he was.
No.
There's no way you can say that argument.
And I mean, it just sucks because it's like you can obviously see the downgrade in his burst from his rookie year to his like third or fourth year.
Not the same guy anymore. He's not. So it's time to move on, which we'll break down more in depth later on in today's show. People say use him as a fullback. That means he's washed.
People are saying
that means he's washed.
I'm just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan. Why does it matter? If I'm an Eagles fan, I want the Cowboys.
I will tell you guys when Jeremy's being a troll / being an Eagles fan. He's not being either right now. He's being serious.
If I'm talking as an Eagles fan, I would want you to keep Zeke. I'd be like, keep him. He's the best.
Extend him. There you go.
You should extend him.
There you go.
Trade Dak.
All right, 69% now say vote for yes on that front. We'll talk linebackers here as well. Many have said the off-ball version of running backs. Pick a linebacker to keep. You only have one of these guys on your roster. Who would it be? Because Bobby Wagner is a free agent. Dan Quinn wanted him last time around. He still played really well. He'd be a bit more expensive, but also doesn't miss games like LVE does. Last year, this was the can we have Bobby Wagner? We have Bobby Wagner at home bit, and it was LVE, which actually worked out pretty well because you paid Leighton Vander Esch $2 million and got way beyond $2 million.
I thought that was Anthony Barr.
Well, no. It was Wagner became LVE, and then we did it for one of the receivers, and it was Jalen Tolbert and Dennis Houston, or maybe it was Noah Brown and Dennis Houston, which that one actually worked out okay too, if we're being honest. So
Bobby. A lot of Bobbies in the chat.
Wagner's an upgrade. I would also consider this in the event you sign Bobby Wagner and then move on from Leighton Vander Esch. In theory, your comp pick would be like you probably get like a fifth, maybe a sixth worst case back for Vander Esch. So it's Wagner and a pick for Vander Esch and less money.
LVE
it's interesting.
LVE is just the next, guy, like middle linebacker for the Cowboys. He's the next Sean Lee. He's the reincarnation of Sean Lee.
He's not Sean Lee. He's not as good as Sean. Sean Lee was special. He just couldn't stay healthy.
He's Sean Lee reincarnated.
He's not. He's not at all, frankly. Now, when it comes to the Cowboys front office.
That's trolling.
That one was trolling. Thank you for clarifying. When it comes to the Cowboys front office, what is your confidence level in what they will do in Stephen Jones, Catboy, Jerry Jones? I told Stephen Jones last time we were at the Combine to don't forget to pay Dak, and then he did. I specifically reminded him, don't forget to pay Dak, and he laughed and said, I won't, and then he did anyway. It was unbelievable. So what's your confidence level?
He must not have Slack reminders on.
He should have had Slack reminders on. Wouldn't have been an issue anymore. I see 5, 3, 8, 6.9, 5, 2, 6, 5, 4.
10. I'm at a 10.
5. You're at a 10. See, Jeremy's being Eagles fan right now. 6.9, 10, 2. Let's see, 5.
No way the Cowboys go 2 off seasons without signing a notable free agent. No way.
No way the team.
No way.
The math for those of you wondering, by the way, in terms of like actual money spent, the real cash stuff of the last 2 years, Cowboys are third to last in the NFL behind the Falcons and the Bears, who were rebuilding and blowing it up.
So are the Cowboys.
That's the weird part is like they were a playoff team and didn't spend any money.
Arguably the third best playoff team.
That's very interesting on
in
that
the
front.
NFC.
Yeah. All right, the Super Chat menu. None's come in today yet, Jeremy. It's disappointing. Any Super Chat, we'll give you guys a shout out. $5 for beer cheers. 20 is a shot. 50 tortilla slaps. 100. We'll bring back the Cowboys beer hat of honor for today.
And every $69 or every time we
shots.
get to a 69 is shots. 69, 169.
269. That could be a lot of shots today.
What would we do if we ever got to 696? Do we just like
jungle beer bong race? I don't know what it would be. Something like that. It'd have to be special. It'd have to be something special. Or I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out there. So that's the Super Chat menu. Super Chat's in now since we'll have a mailbag later on in today's show, and there are still plenty of super thanks to get to, so you'll want to Super Chat there. We'll also spend some time today, I'm sure, a totally non-controversial topic. We got 67% saying yes, Zeke is washed. I can't wait to see the answers on this one there. Do you want to extend Dak Prescott? We'll break down the numbers, which, of course, are super important on that front. With the way the quarterback market looks, it's very interesting. Why for yes and for no? I'm not going to have you give me serious or non-serious answers, Jimmy, because I just don't trust you on that one. Do you want to extend Dak? I think at the right cost is the answer here. The number that's been floated out there is $46 million.
2 caveats. At the right cost, and then do you extend a backup quarterback?
In Cooper Rush.
In Dak.
There you go. There we go.
Dude,
you got the real answer and the troll answer all in one. It's well done, Jeremy.
How many backup quarterbacks get major extensions like Dak Prescott?
Carson Wentz got one.
That is true.
Who also got cut, by the way.
And what did the Eagles do? They traded him.
They traded him.
Dak, trading block. You heard it here first.
I see yeses from Daniel, Gregory, Clayton, no's from Darnell, Andrew Jackson, Dale says yes, Nelson says yes. Let's see. Amarian says extension without clauses and low guaranteed money. Great idea. Good luck with that. He ain't Daniel Jones. I see no's from Daniel Nutt with Nutt all caps.
Nice.
Ethan says hell no.
Corey gets it.
Raider Sancho just says Raiders in there.
Raiders.
Ultimate Robo Cowboy says yes. TKG says they might draft a QB. I think there's a good chance they take a QB at some point on day 3. That's what they've done in the past too. That's not. I think that gets blown up a little bit more than
DB Cooper. If the Eagles need to do that, does that mean the Cowboys signing Aikman?
It's about signing Foles. There you go. Regina Green says yes. Juan Fernandez says yes. Jason says yes as well. Keep those answers coming. We'll go more in depth both in our rumors roundup and also later on with some extension candidates, which includes CeeDee Lamb, of course, by the way. Now, if you are ready to start today's video, then like it right now. We've only got 36 likes at this point. That's bad numbers.
I mean,
that's bad. We're not even to 69 likes
If
yet.
you love the Eagles like I do,
no, not
go
this
ahead
again.
and don't like the video.
Not this one again. Someone else just says me for quarterback, and that's a great way for me to die. Like, I ain't lasting as a quarterback, and also none of the players are.
Yeah, Tom's more of a safety.
Sure. I'm not playing quarterback. My arm's not good enough. I'm not smart enough. So like the video. I'm not starting the show until we get to at least 69 likes.
Oh.
That's just the bare minimum. Like, what are we doing?
That's just commitment to the bit right there.
Yeah.
That's just commitment, guys.
I agree. All right, 56 likes. Here's what's coming up, by the way, once we get there. Cowboys rumors and some news. Stephen Jones talked with Todd Archer of ESPN, offered some interesting updates. It's also Cowboys combine season, so it's a little dicey there.
Oh, speaking of combine, Tommy boys.
Yes.
Heading to Indy.
Me and Sam will be down there Tuesday night, so really Wednesday through Saturday.
The land of a million wishes, Indianapolis.
That's not what it is. Doesn't make any sense.
That's what it is.
That's not right.
Indianapolis, the land of a million wishes.
That doesn't seem right. 3 likes away, by the way. We'll also go through my perfect free agency plan, doing what the Jones boys could never. Cowboys Mailbag, again, 2 ways to get your questions on the show. Super Chat or use #Cowboys, but that puts you at the mercy of producer Jeremy actually picking your question. And we'll run through some Cowboys extension
You say
candidates.
that like I'm not nice.
Sometimes you are, but sometimes you're Eagles fan troll Jeremy, and I love you for it.
That's not true.
And I love you for
I
it,
am
but that's who you are.
probably the most unbiased producer here.
When it comes to Cooper Rush, yes, you are. All right, I got to the 69 likes. Thanks for helping my memes not just be dreams there. Like the video. We'll break all that down here on today's live Cowboys Report. What's up, Jeremy?
Loop, correct?
Yeah, we'll have a stash there. All coming up live right now. Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Combine week is here, and some of the news and rumors already starting to flow out of Indianapolis. Stephen Jones spoke with his comments on guys like Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard. But I want to begin with the Ezekiel Elliott conversation. Is he cooked? Is he washed up? As Bob Sturm of The Athletic has said, it's 4 stars. I am sorry. I am sorry the Zeke truthers who still exist, but there's no way it's anything other than 4 stars relative to what he once was. Doesn't mean he still can't help you a little bit, but he is not the same guy that he was. His production, his efficiency has drastically dipped over the past couple of seasons. He simply doesn't have the ability, the burst, the juice, the big plays that he once did. He's still good, still very good in short yardage situations, but that role is not that valuable. Elliott will not and simply cannot be back at his $10.9 million base salary. That number must be significantly reduced if he's going to return. Now, my solution had been the vet minimum, which is not that different than what Bob Sturm of The Athletic wrote. He said, when asked about, it was a Q&A of like, does Zeke have it anymore? It was, the answer is that given the number of analysts and scouts I've talked to about Elliott this year, the consensus opinion is in stone. He has very little left in his legs, and the word is out. I believe he has one option for employment above the league minimum, and it is right here in Dallas. I'm not even sure I'd go that far that somebody else out there wouldn't give him a little bit more than the vet minimum. You know, maybe we're talking 1 year, $2 million. But that's what he's worth at this point. The touchdowns are great. He still is one of the better players at turning a 1-yard loss into a 1 or 2 yard gain. That's not that valuable. There is value, but not nearly at the $10 million price tag. Look at this production dip. We're talking a guy who was once a 5 yards per carry player, and he averaged less than 4. And we can't go with it was only the offensive line, because the other back put up way, way better and more impactful production. So Ezekiel Elliott is not that guy anymore. He is not living up to the contract he currently gets, and it's time to make a change on that front. I'm going to give some more final thoughts here on this, but is Ezekiel Elliott cooked? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comments on today's video. So if an ad break happens to come here on YouTube, that's fine. Ignore the ad. Take advantage of it, frankly. Head down there and type in your Y for yes, he's washed up. N for no, he is not. To the Zeke truthers out there, I am sorry, but the reality is that Ezekiel Elliott is washed up. He is not remotely the guy he once was. Now, I've seen the arguments of, well, he was banged up, and that's true. Ezekiel Elliott has been banged up the past couple of years, and that's also part of the problem. He's not suddenly, at this point in his career, at this point in his workload, his overall usage, he's not suddenly going to stay healthier. The reality is, this is who Zeke is. He's going to be a sub 4 yard per carry guy. He'll kind of cool off down the stretch. And for those of you who have said, well, he just needs more volume, no, that doesn't make any sense. More volume is not the solution. For those of you saying that well, he's great in the fourth quarter, it's actually been his least efficient quarter over his career. And it was really bad this year. That Zeke we all knew and loved at the beginning of his career, he's simply not that guy anymore. Now, today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Cultivate, the free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. Over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China, Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from these sellers and keep money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify local alternatives that you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn donations as rewards for using the extension, and the more you use it, the more you earn in donations by increasing your level. In fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the revenue that they make on your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Go to wecultivate.us/chatsports and download Cultivate for free. Let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the show and download with our link. It's in the comments and the description of today's video. Let's go to the other member of that draft class. Dak Prescott is an extension coming for the Cowboys' sometimes overly hated quarterback. 3 stars on this one. If you take the word of Stephen Jones only, it'd be 4 stars. But this is a headline from 2018, 19, and 20, so I'm not giving it 4 stars. Stephen Jones told Todd Archer that we've got to have a plan to ultimately extend Dak, which I think some of the reposting has been, we have a plan to ultimately extend Dak, and left out the got to have, which is important there. The Cowboys can save cap space by extending or a simple restructure of Dak Prescott this offseason, and it would be nice, for once, if the Cowboys showed urgency with their franchise QB, something they did not do in the past because that's not something that they've done. Now, what really matters here is the number. How much are you paying Dak? Bobby Belt has floated out the number of $46 million per year. And if that's the number for Prescott, that's actually a very team-friendly figure. Look at the other quarterbacks in the NFL. Not to mention we'll get to other quarterbacks due for new deals soon. At the moment, let's say he barely beats out Kyler Murray, which is fair because Dak Prescott we worry about the playoff success, right? Dak has had more playoff success than Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson combined, which feels significant that no one ever really talks about it. $46 million, I know there's sticker shock there. By the time, if you do that deal this offseason, by the time you start the upcoming one, it's not going to be a top 5 figure anymore because Joe Burrow is going to get probably $50 million. Justin Herbert, Lamar wants a fully guaranteed deal. Frankly, Jalen Hurts has an argument to be paid more than the Kyler Murrays and the Deshaun Watsons. And if you do it with urgency, by the time that deal starts, you're actually kind of exactly where you are right now. The reality is you have a top 10 quarterback. It's fair to be upset with the frustration of the lack of playoff success. That's fair. But if we're doing that as the benchmark, then there's about 5 guys out there, active guys, who are healthy and still the same player. I'm not including Russ in that category anymore, who have done more. So if it is 46, I'm not sure it is. That's actually a pretty team-friendly deal, folks. Now, we'll have more on the extension side of it when we do our extension candidates video later this week. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Free videos will be at the Combine from Mike McCarthy's press conference on Wednesday, by the way. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Let's move to Tony Pollard, to the running back. How about franchise tagging one Tony Pollard? I'll give this one 3 stars. Again, Stephen Jones commented on this, and I'm inclined to believe this is the path. I'm not going to quite give it 4. I think it's closer to 4 than it is the Dak one being to 4, for example. Tag is 10.1, we'll round $1 million there. He's coming off the leg injury in the playoffs. I'm not really that concerned about the leg injury for Tony Pollard. I think he'll be just fine in time for camp. The surgery was not for the leg fracture. It was for a tightrope ankle procedure, so I'm not that worried about it when it's all said and done. What's really interesting here when it comes to Pollard is the, I think, fairly revealing quote Stephen Jones gave Todd Archer and ESPN, saying, quote, "We're not afraid of the tag. End of the day, we'll probably use it again this year." Well, the most logical tag candidate is Tony Pollard, and I think this is the path the Cowboys are heading once again, which is kind of the middle ground, just like it was for Dalton Schultz that I don't love. Either pay him and give yourself more cap flexibility for a deal that will be pretty similar on the average per year cost, or move on and draft two guys in this upcoming draft. I am open more than other backs in this free agency class to keeping Pollard because he brings to you the one thing you don't really have right now, and that is the speed. Tony Pollard is the one fast player you have on offense. CeeDee Lamb's not slow, but 4.5 isn't that fast. And Kevontae Turpin's fast, but he doesn't play on offense. You get rid of Pollard, and this is the slowest offense in the entire NFL. That does concern me a little bit. So what would you do with Tony Pollard? W for let him walk. You don't want to pay back, so I get where you're coming from. P for pay him, get that long-term deal done. Or T, tag him for now. Let's talk Jerry Jeudy trade here. I'll give this one star. It's a fun idea. I'm all for it if you can make it happen. And the Cowboys, the one spot they've been willing to make the big-time move at has been receiver in recent years. I don't think Judy's the one who ends up getting dealt by Denver. We talked about Cortland Sutton in the past, and I would have interest in that one as well. Jeudy was mentioned in trade talks before the trade deadline. Then the Chase Claypool trade happened where we went for what has become the 32nd overall pick, which was an oopsie by the Bears. But he's young, coming off a strong finish post-trade deadline with the Claypool trade in the background. Even knowing Jeudy will want a $23 million deal, I don't think Denver shops him. And I would wonder if this particular archetype of the young, but you got to pay him receiver, not sure that's quite what Dallas is looking for, even knowing they can get out of the Gallup deal next year. Jeudy was almost 1,000-yard player despite missing 2 games this year, so pretty close on that front as far as I'm concerned. He's a great football player. He actually does bring you some speed, some route running that I think would provide value. But even though you desperately need more receiver help, I'm just not going to get my hopes up for a trade which would cost you at least, I think, your first-round pick being the option in the end, even though it'd be fun. You get 2 of the better receivers from that same draft class, Lamb and Jeudy. But remember, you're probably going to want to pay Lamb this offseason. But receiver is a significant need for this Cowboys team. How do you want to fix it? F for free agency, D for address it in the draft. Sound off in the comments section. Speaking of the draft, how about taking Jaxon Smith-Njigba? 2 stars. The teams that need a receiver in the latter part of round 1, that early to mid-20 range, right where you are, makes me uncertain he'll fall to you. But I said there was no way CeeDee Lamb would fall to you, and I was happy to be wrong there. That's the most that I've been in draft night in a long time. Bleacher Report picked the dream draft target for each NFL team. They went with Jaxon Smith-Njigba for the Cowboys. Now, look, JSN is not a burner. He's only really played the slot, so I would wonder how he meshes exactly with CeeDee Lamb, since they'll probably have something similar 40-yard dash time. I think JSN is slower, even with the faster turf at Indy. He's a slot guy so far. Can he play on the outside? I'm not so sure. But he does create the thing this Cowboys team needs. If you're not going to bring me speed, bring me separation. And because JSN is such a quality and reliable route runner, I have interest in that. I would be on board if he's there at 26, whether he's my best player or 5th best player on the board. I think he'd probably be my number 1 receiver left, and that would make it worthwhile for me when it comes to fixing that wide receiver spot, because Steven will admit it, they messed up at wide receiver last offseason. All right, speaking of that Cowboys front office, what's your confidence level? I dropped my pen again. 1 on the low end. I just can't sit still. 10 on the high end.
Downey with that pen.
It's got to be on the low end, or minimum medium. Like, they do some good things, but if 10 is objectively speaking like an Eagles front office, they're not a 10. There's just no way around it.
It's hard to be as good as the Eagles, Tom.
I don't know why I brought that up with you here. I was probably dumb of me.
Hard to be as good as the Eagles.
Get those votes in, 1 to 10.
You guys know about that in the comment section.
Yeah. Get it in 1 on the low end to the high. There are also some super chats that came in. Jeremy, get those here.
Oh, yeah.
Get those supers in. We'll answer them. I need a beer, by the way, after the first one.
Wow.
I know. I forgot to grab it. Where were the shot
Big
glasses?
L's.
Ecuador man AOG, how can anyone believe $13 million plus for Zeke and Tony? If you mean combined, I don't think you would have to make it that high if you bring back Zeke on a restructured contract. Mm-hmm. You have to take a significant pay cut. Even if you tag Pollard, you've got $2 million there to make that work. 13 each, I can't. No, absolutely not. That's about $13 million more than everyone has spent on that position. So if that's what you're doing, or if that's what you are worried about people doing, I don't think you have to worry about it. Zeke's not coming back on his contract. Daniel nutted a $5, but he also had a comment that came in like 30 seconds before his super chat, so I'll just answer that one here. What if you move Elliott to fullback if he takes the veteran minimum? I guess you can do that, but I will also say that Zeke's a good blocker. I might just go get an actual fullback, right? And like draft, sign a UDFA and fill that role and go even cheaper. Because do you want to pay even the vet minimum for a guy that hasn't been a special teamer in his career? Like if Zeke wants to rebrand and go, I'll be a fullback and a special teamer and take the vet min, okay, that works for me. But I do question if that's something A, Zeke wants, and B, if the special teams he'll be good at. He hasn't done it. He's never really been that guy because he was an actual running back and a good one for a long time. So I'd be surprised that's the route that they went. This is our super chat menu, by the way. Any super chat, a shout out. $5 for beer cheers, 20 for shots, 50 I'll slap Jeremy, or you can slap me, $10 for the Cowboys beer hat of honor. Cheers to you, Daniel Nutt. Awesome. We got another super chat. Thank you, Abby. From Winston Shan. I'm going to see if Jeremy notices. Does Jeremy know? Does Jeremy know? Do you know? There you go. He knows. He knows. It is me. Winston Shan, that's like 8th grade me. Quarterback Julius Brent to the Cowboys, Iowa. That is the Kansas State corner, who is very much going to look like a Dan and test and measure like a Dan Quinn corner. Tall, very long wingspan, etc. I know the NFL report was that he's going to run sub 4.4, and I don't believe that one. I think sub 4.5 is very much in the range that's doable. You need cornerback help. I would like Brent much more than I would have liked than I like Nahshon Wright coming out. Let's put it that way. Hell, I like Wright's brother cut out of Oregon State more than I like Nahshon Wright this year.
Yeah, I mean,
testing pending.
And the Cowboys have had some decent success drafting corners in the last couple drafts.
Oh, yeah.
Trayvon Diggs.
You're at about 50%.
Boss man Fat.
Yeah.
So.
Deron Bland. Honestly, if Bland was the second rounder, we'd all be feeling great. He just wasn't. He was the 6th rounder or 5th rounder.
Yeah.
That's not that last beer that I drank for free.
Batting 500, make it to the Hall of Fame.
That's true. Chris B. Money aside, would you trade our first for Ramsey, second for Diop? If we can figure out the money, I definitely would. We get 2 really good players. $50. We're slapping Jeremy today. Let's go. We'll get to the Lunatic Super because I got distracted. Money aside, if the money magically worked, I think that's worth it player-wise. But the money is a very real problem. But if money was aside, I think you'd have higher offers than those two. But yeah, in a bubble, I would. From DeLunatic, $50.
Wait, but he didn't say who he wanted to slap.
It says F Filthy. I think we know who he wants to slap.
DeLunatic, let us know who you want to slap.
Clearly wants to slap you, but whatever. You can delay while you go get the tortilla. Options for Dorrance Armstrong, because Sam Williams needs to be unleashed in 2023. Go Cowboys. I have the number written down here. Let me see if I can find it. But Dorrance Armstrong is cuttable. Now, Armstrong began the year playing awesome football. He was out there as one of the better edges. He had, I think, 8 sacks or 7 sacks in 8 games, something like that, and then kind of fell apart after that. Now, the way the money works for Armstrong is you can cut him right now, save $4.25 million of his $7.25 million cap hit. You cut him after June 1st, you save $5.75, but you don't free that money up. You have Tank Lawrence. You have Dorrance Armstrong. Maybe you try to trade Dorrance Armstrong during the draft if you spend another premium edge pick. I agree with Sam Williams, though. I want to make him your number 3, number 4 edge at worst. And I'm letting go of Dante Fowler. I think Fowler is done in Dallas because I've got Sam Williams. If you want to sign a cheap edge, go for it. I'll let Fowler walk, and that way I get more snaps for Sam Williams here. He's just wet. He's just water. He did say Chug's getting slapped, by the way. Yes, you can come see it right here. Ricky says, slap him for me too. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're smart. I was going to try. All right, you're on screen. Look, he did say it was you. Okay. Drop the tortilla out of respect for you. I love a good tortilla slap. Thank you, DeLunatic.
Knock, knock.
Who's there? Tortilla who? All right, thank you, DeLunatic. We're also, by the way, doing math on the fly here. $5 away. Well, $5.02 from shots as well, which maybe we'll get there after this segment. Yeah. Ooh, if Mark shows up, that'll be fun. Thank you to Lunatic and everyone else who's super chatted so far. We'll get back to more supers, I'm sure, here in a little bit once Jeremy's all set up for our next segment. EJ, no, they didn't. Not sure what you're going for there. What's up? You good? Okay. Well, as long as if we're not recording, it's fine. We don't need it. We can just end it as long as the stream is still going, which it is. That's fine. That's okay. That's not a big deal. We just won't loop. That's fine there. Darnell Green also says thank you for Lunatic. Everyone type Lunatic in the comments section for that big time super chat. I greatly appreciate that one. We'll hit those in the mailbag too. Good call there, Jeremy. Coming up next, we'll do my perfect free agency plan. The Joneses won't spend money because they don't have enough pie. I'll show them how, yes, they do have enough pie to spend and make it work in Dallas. You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Today's show, I've come with an ideal and also still realistic and affordable free agency plan for the Dallas Cowboys that you can save money with restructuring. Let's get that here momentarily. Spend money in free agency and be a bit more aggressive than what they've been in this point, almost a decade. So first, some cap accounting stuff. I can cut and restructure players to save over $50 million with ease. I can cut Zeke. That's more of a post-June 1st savings. Maybe Tyron Smith retires. I cut Jordan Lewis. I restructure Dak Prescott. If you don't want to extend him, it's fine. I restructure Zach Martin. I restructure Tank Lawrence. I'm now from a few million over the cap. I'm playing with a ton of salary cap space to actually go out and acquire free agents and pay my own guys as well, because we know how much the Cowboys love doing that. So my number one and first step here, we'll start internal. I will go ahead and I'll pay Tony Pollard. I would rather pay him than do a franchise tag because it gives me more flexibility to sign other players, and it keeps the one fast player I have on this roster. I don't have that much speed at this point. So my pros contract is 3 years, $30 million. It's $10 million per year. It's the same basically as the franchise tag. I'll guarantee him like $20-ish million of it. And I will make note of the salary cap hit because the cap hit is not the same as the average per year figure. $6 million is the cap hit there. Instead of $10 million, I've freed up $4 million more by not using the franchise tag. All right, some other notable re-signings is my next step here. And I have changed this from when we sat down and did our ideal off-season plan. 3 players I'll look to re-sign. Number 1 is Donovan Wilson. I'll bump the numbers up. 2 years, $11.5 million. Similar with a prorated adjustment for the salary cap right to the Jaron Kearse deal. $4.5 million cap hit in 2023. Terrence still gets the first-round tender at $6 million, and I can if I want, but I'll go with that number for now. And the cap would be about the same, I think, anyway. Carlos Watkins, meanwhile, I'll bring him back. He was underrated for this team. 1 year, $1.5 million, giving me some extra depth along the defensive line as a nice back-end rotation player. Now, after all of those different moves, I've still got about $30 million in salary cap space, and I can create more if I need to. So with that in mind, we're going to speak some positivity here on today's show. If you think the Cowboys will actually spend money in free agency on outside players, as we're about to break down, type in Y for yes. If you don't, I want you to type in H for I hope so, in an effort to speak that positivity into the universe. It's the pinned comment today, so go type in Y or, I guess, H in the comment section at the pinned comment. All right, ideal FA plan number 1, I'm going to sign Bobby Wagner. Sorry, Leighton Vander, Esch. I like you. You're a good football player. I'll take advantage of the better and healthier player in Wagner. My proposed contract, it's basically the exact same deal that Wagner got from the Rams, now taking over the rest of it with similar-ish guaranteed money and still carries outs after 2 years. The cap hit this year is $6 million. You're going to have to pay Vander Esch, I'd say somewhere, instead of the $10 million per year, maybe it's 7.5. So for a little bit more money, I'm getting an older but still better player. If you want to bring back LV, that's fine. If he wants to take a cheap deal. But if he leaves, I get a comp pick. And I'm actually okay with that. So of these two, pick a linebacker. If you could only have one on your roster, because I kind of want to give Damone Clark a chance here. LVE for Leighton Vander Esch, or just Bobby for Bobby Wagner. Now, Wagner did play really well last year for the LA Rams, even without having Aaron Donald for the same period of time. Wagner played really well as a second-team All-Pro, and $10 million per year is half of what the highest-paid off-ball linebacker makes. There's about $20 million guaranteed in my proposed idea for that one, so I'm fine with it. You upgraded off-ball linebacker. If you're not sold on Damone Clark, maybe you can bring back Leighton Vander Esch, but I still think Wagner showed in a different defense, different scheme, without having Donald for the first half of the year, he showed more than enough to me to think he's got at least 2 more good years left in the tank. Now, today's show is sponsored by Cultivate, the free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. Over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China. Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from these sellers and keep the money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify local alternatives you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn free donations as rewards for using the extension, and the more you use it, the more you earn in donations by increasing your level. In fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the money or the revenue they make on your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Go to wecultivate.us/chatsports and download Cultivate for free. Let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the show and with our link. It's wecultivate.us/chatsports. It's in the comments and the description of today's video. Number 4 step, how about signing wide receiver DJ Chark? I want speed on this wide receiver team, and I don't have it at this point. Right now, my wide receiver room is very slow. Chark, in the proposed contract I'll give him, it's a bit on the team-friendly side. He got a 1-year, $10 million deal last year. I'm not going to give him that. I'll do 1 year, $4.5 million. I'll throw in a bunch of incentives, all unlikely to be earned. So if he does hit them, it'll cost me on next year's cap, not on the current one. The Cowboys don't have speed. There's nobody fast under contract on this roster because, frankly, Turpin does not play on offense. Injuries have been the problem for DJ Chark. That's why I'm only doing a one-year deal and not a multi-year deal, despite, I think, really helping and filling a big-time need at wide receiver. Having a vertical threat with a bigger body fits the size the Cowboys typically prefer to like and gives me the thing that I crave right now, which is just the speed. Now, if you are a die-hard Cowboys fan, make sure you are subscribed. Free videos. If the Cowboys sign people, we break it down. They signed 3 outside free agents all last year. Hopefully that number goes up this offseason. Back to defense. Number 5, I'm going to sign Dalvin Tomlinson, the Vikings defense lineman, who I wanted really badly from the Giants when the Vikings signed him a few years ago. My proposed contract, and a lot of the numbers match the Spotrac PFF numbers, which it's a guess in the end. 3 years, $33 million, $7 million cap hit. I would love Daron Payne. He ain't going to hit the open market. He's not going anywhere. He's going to stick it with the Command. He's going to get franchise tag. So a more realistic option to help fill that run stuffer who can still contribute on passing downs is Dalvin Tomlinson, who doesn't put up top-end numbers in terms of the sacks and TFLs, but he does consistently bring pressure, and he's been a very good football player. It's an upgraded version of Jonathan Higgins, and I'm hoping this Cowboys team would learn, hey, having that premier run stuffer does help things. I would love Javon Hargrave more than anything. I suspect you would not win the bidding war. So I do want to keep it a little bit more realistic, and Tomlinson is much more realistic on that front. The money is on the upper echelon of what I'd pay him, but you can get on that deal after 2 years pretty easily. Now, of all the free agents out there, who do you want to sign? Maybe it's someone I mentioned. Maybe it's someone I did not. Let me know right now in the comment section. Step number 6, signing Dalton Risner. How about you go invest in a more reliable left guard than Connor McGovern? Now, his numbers weren't as good this year. I'm inclined to blame the just general dumpster fire that was the Broncos' offense and offensive line last year. So 4 years, $38 million. There's about $20 million guaranteed there. So again, it's an out after 2 years. If you need it, $6 million cap hit. That number is still kind of below the top tier number for offensive guards. You are now in much better shape on the left side of your offensive line. You basically solidified it, where you've got a strong option in Tyler Smith, Dalton Risner, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele. You don't have to spend another first-round pick or premium pick on the offensive line. Risner's hurries were a bit high last year. Part of it was the fact that Denver offense just was kind of a mess. I think he'd be much better in Dallas. I think he's better than what Connor McGovern is at this point in their careers. And if I'm being aggressive, I would like to spend some money on good trench players there. I think Risner and Tomlinson fit that mold. We could not go without getting another Dan Quinn piece. I'm going to go with Isaiah Oliver here, and I'll throw this one in less of just ideal and more like this one actually does make some sense for all sides involved. Cheap veteran depth cornerback option to help hedge your bet. Since I cut Jordan Lewis, I'm not re-signing Anthony Brown. I have another option on my roster with some inside-outside flex. He mostly played nickel last year for Atlanta, who knows Dan Quinn, fits his typical size and what he likes in a corner, and gives me a vet option in case the draft board does not fall my way. What I've done here overall, including Isaiah Oliver, is I've mostly identified and filled my needs, and at certain spots, receiver, cornerback, maybe running back to an extent, I can still draft a premium player in round 1 if one happens to fall to me. Or I can trade down. And I'm allowing myself to actually go BPA more so than I have in other off seasons. So my ideal free agency plan, and by the way, I still have several $1 million left over. Steven, talk to me, bud. I got you covered here. Number 1 is pay Tony Pollard. Number 2 are other internal re-signings led by Donovan Wilson. I'll sign Bobby Wagner, DJ Chark, Dalvin Tomlinson, Dalton Risner, and Isaiah Oliver. Something like the last 10 Super Bowl winners have all spent more guaranteed money on one player in free agency than the Cowboys have spent overall on outside free agents. That would change with this plan. So grade it for me. You can be honest. I can take criticism. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade my free agency plan for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll give some shout-outs and then some more super chats. Marian, plan looks solid. Will it happen? No. They won't do that. They're too much of cowards there. Got a 20 for shots, so we owe 2 shots now. At least I owe 2 shots. I see A, B, C, B, B, B minus, B plus, B minus, B, A minus, B, B. Hey, I'll take a B. I will. Because the Cowboys have not had a B free agency in a long time. Like, that's my mindset. B, B, a lot of B's in there. It's fine. Not everyone's going to agree with Pollard or signing Reisner, but, I don't think you're going to get much better options there. See, Garrett's is B because you'd rather draft Bijan or Gibbs or someone later, but you can still draft someone later. In fact, in that plan, draft-wise, I'm spending a round 3, round 4, round 5 pick on a running back. Frankly, I would rather pay Pollard than draft a running back in round 1. It's too important of a long-term asset than $30 million the next 3 years. That's not as high. Oh, we're doing Henny again today? All right, we can do Henny. I have it, I'm sure, somewhere, but I'll do some Henny. That's fine. First one is for $69 in supers, and then we'll do a 20. I'll do another shot of Henny for Chad Dieter's $20. Ooh, I almost spilled it again.
Mark.
Mark's not here. This is to. Glasses. Oh, these are Mark's glasses. To Lunatic and Chad, who got us to 69 by themselves. Bottoms up. There we go. That was nice. All right. Let's hit some super chats here, Chugs, and we'll get to our mailbag. Ecuador Man AOG was our most recent one. Why overpay a running back again? I don't think $10 million is an overpay for Pollard. I'm honestly more confident in Pollard's, longevity because he doesn't have the same workload volume. Like, his workload is much lighter than what Ezekiel Elliott's was. Even coming out of college. Like, Ezekiel Elliott in college had, I'm doing the math here. And I'll do Pollard's numbers too. Like, Pollard has always been a lighter workload guy. Ezekiel Elliott had 600 carries in college, along with 58 catches. So we'll do some light math. We'll do 650 touches. Tony Pollard had 200 and we'll say 50 in college, and he's on basically Elliott's college numbers are very similar to Pollard's first 3 years NFL touches. In fact, it's less. So we're talking several years ahead for Elliott and behind Pollard for the volume there. So I'm not as worried about paying Pollard. Plus, I would like speed. Tom's second kid, who also had a super thanks on the same question we put in the mailbag. Non-exclusive franchise tag Pollard, reject matching, and get 2 first-rounders. Smart idea. Who's going to do that, though, out in the NFL? I don't think anyone's going to give Pollard, $10 million and give up 2 first-rounders from him. I'm a big Pollard fan, but no back out there is worth that right now. Not a single running back in the NFL, unless you're guaranteeing me Adrian Peterson for the next 10 years, doesn't exist anymore, is worth 2 first-round picks. Just no one's going to. Good idea, good thought. Everyone else says no. Chad Dieter, Tom, your thoughts on pygmy goats drinking at a bar? Did I miss something, Jeremy? Because I don't know what this is alluding to. I think in general,
I don't get the joke at all.
Married to a zookeeper, I think she'd be upset with me if I said anything other than you shouldn't give goats alcohol. It's kind of where I'm at.
This is a pro.
So I don't know what we're referring to. But I will do a shot for it.
This is a pro sober animal show. Please keep your animals sober if you can.
It's a good idea. Mailbag time now. Get your questions on using #Cowboys or by super chatting. A bunch of those already came in. Thank you all so much. There are a bunch of super thanks as well. So if you want to, actually guarantee to get yourself on, super chat. The menu, by the way, is any super chat. We'll give you a shout out, answer your question, comment, even if we don't quite get what it is about the goats. $5, we'll do some beer cheers here. 20 for shots. I did one for Chad. We got to slap Jeremy once already from DeLunatic.
If anybody wants to slap Tom, you can also send in a 50.
Yeah, you can slap either me or Jeremy.
You can slap Tom.
Your choice. Your choice for who gets slapped with the tortilla. And $100 will put your name on the Cowboys Beer Hat of Honor. We'll bring it back since it is Combine Weekend. That's fun for me. I dropped my pen again like an idiot. That's our super chat menu. If any supers come in, we'll hit them on the mailbag and do whatever reward it is.
Don't forget,
after.
You can also slap Tom if you want to.
Jeremy's really pushing that because he's mad that only he got slapped today.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to, you can definitely also slap Tom if you want.
It's up to you guys. Get your questions in. #Cowboys.
Slap Tom.
$50 to slap me.
Yep.
Or slap Jeremy. There you go. Another 50! The lunatic!
Is this to slap Tom?
I'm pretty sure this is to slap you.
The lunatic, let us know.
Specified the lunatic. The MVP today. You think Filthy in New York will force Dollar Bill Stephen Jones, great nickname, to be more active in free agency? Chuck's better to get slapped for his team, but F Filthy, DC for L.
So, the lunatic, do you want me to slap Tom?
Specify who gets slapped,
Is
the lunatic.
that what you want?
I know who you want, but Jeremy needs to see it.
Please powerbomb
Powerbomb me, Jesus. My answer, unfortunately, is I don't think so, DeLunatic. My suspicion is that Stephen Jones, and Jerry said the Eagles went all in, which they didn't, and they didn't win the Super Bowl, and that they will point to, we watched the Buffalo Bills go all in, be super aggressive, and make it as far as the Cowboys did. It's evidence that they don't need to.
We went all in, and then we're going to go back out, and then we're going to go all back in again.
Eagles have 2 first-round picks. They did not. They did not risk their future at all.
Out and in.
They were just, bonk. They were just aggressive there. So, DeLunatic, let me know if you want to get slapped. Pretty sure it's you want me to slap Jeremy.
I don't know. DeLunatic, by the way, his message, it sounded like you wanted me to slap Tom.
Not the way it sounded at all. But Jeremy's.
DeLunatic, let us know.
Jeremy, the longer you fight it, the harder the slap's going to be. Just so you know.
Nick McLean, well, damn, my dog is drunk already. I'll try tomorrow.
Again, please don't.
Let us know before the mailbag. If not, I can slap Tom after the mailbag.
It's definitely me slap Jeremy. I have no doubts about that. Yeah, Chug's getting slapped again. Come on up here, Jeremy. Yeah, come on up here. And we'll jump right into the mailbag. Army Mom Heather C. says, put Tom through a table. 50 to slap me. Happy to do it. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, you didn't hit the space bar there, Jeremy. Oh, come on up on screen. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I guess you're on enough. You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Workers' comp claim. What happened? Yeah, I got blinded by a tortilla. We are $30 away from more shots. I like that. That's fun. Thank you, DeLunatic, for that one here. Ecuador, man, I see your super chat. What that in the mailbag? That's a very good question on that one there. I appreciate that. Mailbag coming up. Again, last call for super chats to be on the mailbag.
Just a reminder, if anybody else wants to send in a 50 to slap Tom, you can also do that. Tom is also being slapped for $50.
Yes.
Tom is being slapped for $50.
So is Jeremy. Appreciate the the 250 pieces today, DeLunatic. Chris P., I see your super chat too. Again, we'll hit all of these on the mailbag. Get your questions in with that hashtag Cowboys or super chat as soon as Jeremy's all clear. We'll get it going. I see Busch Gardens, Chris Snow, Maxter, Daniel Nutt shouting out the Lunatic. Big ups, guys, for the show and the super chats so far.
Hold on.
I'll stand by.
Standing by.
Jeremy's standing by for no reason. You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. It's a mailbag. We answer all your questions on our Monday live show. Some via super chat, some just general hashtag Cowboys questions, and some come in via super thanks. On demand, we will always shout you guys out. From Jay Smooth, Dallas needs to cut Noah Brown. He sucks. I like T.Y. better than Brown for real. Good news, Noah Brown is a free agent. You don't have to cut him. He is a receiver 5-ish, and they made him into a receiver 2. Went the way it was always going to go, unfortunately. So check out Super Thanks if you haven't already. It's a new-ish feature on YouTube. Instead of only being able to donate during live shows, you can now donate outside of live videos. You can click the thanks icon, edit your message to send it to us. We appreciate your support. Any Super Thanks will get a shout-out at some point here on the Cowboys Report. From Matt Batten, who's been a big-time Super Thankser. That's the right verbiage. Yeah, it is. Of late, I'd rather have Cooks trade him for a second-round pick or a third-round pick. That's Brandon Cooks. Plenty of trade buzz on him. They almost had him at the deadline, but they didn't like the guaranteed money this year, which means that is still going to be a potential problem for this Dallas Cowboys team, just the overall money invested at that point. A $10 Super Thanks from Ryan McCartney. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you and the Chat Sports crew, my go-to for Cowboys news and updates. Thank you very much, Ryan. I really do appreciate that. If you agree with Ryan, tell your friends about us and make sure everyone you know subscribes to the Cowboys Report. According to my mother, it's the best Cowboys mailbag out there. And, of course, it is the most subscribed Cowboys YouTube channel. And it's all free. Hit that sub button right now. Jordan Ramirez, Super Thanks. What about bringing back Anthony Brown as cornerback number 2? It's a really good question with a bit of a complicated answer. On one hand, despite the Anthony Brown haters, of which there were many, the Cowboys really missed him last year. They went through trying out Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright. They gave Xavier Rhodes a shot. They tried Trayvon Mullen. They eventually settled on the combination of Deron Bland, Israel Mukuamu, which was pretty good in the playoff game and gives me hope for that spot long term, although, risking or betting it on 2 later round picks is a bit dicey there. But he's also coming off a torn Achilles. He's going to be 30 this upcoming season. Because of that, I'd probably move on from Anthony Brown. If he wants to sign a cheap 1-year deal, sure. But I think I'd rather take another top 75 pick flyer or investment on corner than to bring back Anthony Brown. So do you want to re-sign Anthony Brown? Y for yes, N for no. You guys can vote for me in the comment section of today's video. From Tom's second kid, who also had a super chat on this, by the way. Place not a franchise tag on Pollard, reject the matching offer, have 2 first-rounders in exchange. It's a good idea in theory, but it's not going to work in application because there's not going to be a team that gives up 2 first-round picks for Pollard. I would do it in a heartbeat, but no one else was going to. From Ecuador Man AOG, how can anyone believe $13 million plus for Zeke and Tony Pollard? You can't pay your 2 backs that much money unless it's like 5 or 6 and 7. That's fine. But if you're paying Pollard 10 on the franchise tag or extension long term, you can't bring back Zeke at his current number. It's way too much money for not nearly enough production. From Winston Shan, cornerback Julius Brents to the Cowboys. Although that is the Kansas State cornerback, I think Dan Quinn would too. Has the size and length and overall he tends to covet. I am excited to see how he tests this year at the NFL Combine. I know Tom Pelissero said sub 4.4. I don't think he's that fast. If he is, great. Helps his draft stock. But day 2, early day 3, it's a good name at corner. Chris B., money aside, would you trade our first for Jalen Ramsey and our second for DeAndre Hopkins? If you get the money for it, I definitely would. Get 2 good players. The money there is the real issue because I don't think you can make it work. You would have to pay probably both those guys big deals, and you have 2 young guys at the same spots also due for new deals, unless you wanted to move on from Diggs. The money for the Cowboys' own self-imposed positions, and given the age of those guys, is probably a real issue. But in a bubble, yes, I would. Today's Cow Report is sponsored by Cultivate, the free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. Over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China. Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from these sellers and keep money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs, such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify local alternatives you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn donations by increasing your level. And in fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the revenue they make on your purchase. So what are you waiting for? Go to wecultivate.us/chatsports and download Cultivate for free. Let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the show and download with our link. It's in the comments and the description of today's video. It's wecultivate.us/chatsports. This is one of the several $50 super chats we slapped Jeremy for the lunatic. Options for Dorrance Armstrong because Sam Williams has to be unleashed. You could cut or trade Dorrance Armstrong, save $4-ish million. I doubt they bring back Dante because I agree with your overall point there, lunatic. I want to get Sam Williams more reps and more chances on the field in year 2, a potential breakout season for the former Ole Miss defender. You have Chauncey Golston there too. In general, I'm simply not going to bring back Dante Fowler. I can draft someone or send another cheaper veteran option because I think you're in pretty good shape at the edge rusher position as a group. The other 50 from DeLunatic, I think Philadelphia and the Giants will force dollar bill Steve Jones to be more active in free agency. I would like it if that was the case. My suspicion is Stephen Jones will see Eagles lost, therefore doesn't count, and the Bills spent money, and they made it exactly as far as you did. Therefore, our way's just as good. I wish they were more aggressive, and I have to see it to believe it. Ecuador man, that's Osiris Torrance, guard from Florida, or Steve Avila, guard from TCU, in your opinion. I will have Torrance higher, barring just a combine disaster or just bonkers numbers from Avila. But I'll have Torrance in that round 1 range, Avila in the round 2 range. I'd be happy with either. Overall, it's not a great guard class. And those two, from what I've done so far, Torrance is my number 1 guard. I got Skronsky at tackle, and Avila in there as my second best guard. Other tackles could shift inside, but pure guards, those two are my top 2. From Crackerjack, about signing Saquon Barkley instead of Tony Pollard. My suspicion is because Barkley will be a full-on free agent, you got to win a bidding war for him. And I don't think I ever want to win a bidding war at running back. That just doesn't sound like a great idea. Plus, we're worried about Pollard being able to hold up. Barkley's missed a lot of time the past couple of years. Now, look at the difference in the numbers this year. Saquon Barkley had almost 100 more carries for about 300 more yards. It's not that great of a ratio there. Way more catches for fewer yards. There is an argument, not saying I'm making it, but there is an argument that Pollard is better than Saquon. Now, I don't know if Pollard could handle, 350 touches. I also don't know if I want to give him that many touches. So pick a running back. Let's say the money is similar. Who would it be? SB for Saquon Barkley or TP for Tony Pollard? Head down to the comments section and vote for me right now. From Sam Jordan, the salary cap needs to be way higher. Seems like 90% of teams are going to stay under the cap. Players always demand more than they're really worth. I would agree on the cap being higher. I also know that the salary cap jumps up each and every single year. It jumped up $16 million this year, so it's going to keep rising. And I think those players are what demand more than they're worth because they're getting paid it. So the market says that they're worth it in the end. From Gangsta Big Chungus, how do you feel about Mike calling the plays? If he fails, is he fired? Yeah, if he fails, he's out of here. He's not gonna stick around as the Cowboys' long-term head coach. If it's a disaster, he's out of there. Leroy Pearson Jr., then some more super chats coming up soon too. You think you can get Ben Powers for 4 years, 40? If you could, I'd sign him over Dalton Reisner. My suspicion is he might get like 4 years, 45, or even approaching a little bit more than that. I think he's one of the better free agent guards, better than Reisner. That's a good name if you want to get one of the best guards in free agency. Chris B., preparing myself for DJ Chark or Robert Woods, their only big name free agency acquisition. fully ready for Catboy to let me down again. I understand your pain, Crispy. I trust me, I do. I hope that is not the case. My suspicion when it's all said and done is, yeah, that's the route they'll end up going. They signed 3 free agents last year. On the bright side, I'd say DJ Chark is a lot better than James Washington, which I know is a very low bar to clear. Billy from Irving, should we be out on Jalen Tolbert? So I'm not out on Tolbert yet. I think it's a bit unfair to bail on a third-round pick after 1 year. Now, the Cowboys did make mistakes here. The Cowboys, I'll put myself in this category because I liked him a lot coming out of South Alabama, so I'll use we here. We might not be wrong on the player. We could still very well be right that Tolbert ends up being a good wide receiver who I had a second/third round grade, ends up being a good number 2 for you. But what we were wrong on was the timeline. And that matters a lot from when the Cowboys, I'm not blaming myself here, the Cowboys' standpoint was, we'll bank on the third-round pick, immediately making a big impact, which was always an unrealistic position, though I liked him a lot coming out of South Alabama. So, player being wrong on? Maybe. Timeline? Absolutely. So what is your confidence level, then, in Jalen Tolbert? It's fine if it's low. He was bad this year. Scale it for me from 1 to 10 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Ecuador man, trade down and take, I assume you mean Jahmyr Gibbs. What do you think? If the board's picked over, I am down to trade down. I might still go corner, maybe a receiver there. But if you don't keep Pollard or Zeke, I think Gibbs is a great Pollard replacement for you. From Samuel, trade a 2023 third and a fourth for DeForest Buckner. Cowboys need to get a disruptive force in the interior of the defensive line. Take some attention off Micah Parsons. If I could make that happen for Buckner, I'm in. I think that's a bit on the light side trade value-wise. But I think that'd be a great acquisition because he's an awesome player. I think you got to give at least the top 50 pick there. From Peter, is my need to try to acquire Caleb Williams that doesn't work a pipe dream? I think the reality is it will be. I'm not saying it's a bad dream. It's a good one. But let's say the Cowboys have the worst year under Dak Prescott that they've ever had. They will finish 7-9. They'll finish one game under 500. Hashtag they added the game, right? 8-9. That's the worst they would have ever had under Prescott. They'll be picking around 16. How you getting to number 1? That's the issue in the end. Big Woody, have you seen the Byron Jones tweet? What are your thoughts? I think that surgery did not go very well. I think if at some level, given the way that Byron seems to be mad at the Dolphins coach or medical staff and the Tua handling, maybe there's some question marks about that because that's not normal. The injuries are a real concern. The claim was he wasn't retired, so I think he's kind of done, unfortunately. $5 from Mark. Aloha. Any excellent free agency guards out there to nab? I think you're looking at, who's the Eagles guy again, Jeremy? Isaac
Seumalo.
Seumalo, thank you. That's a good name. Ben Powers of the Ravens, Dalton Reisner of the Broncos. All good options, but got to pay probably around $10 million a year. That's probably where it's at. Between cornerback, receiver, DT, and guard, I think drop to us to pick one, a day one starter. I think if you're trying to get guard in round one, he's going to start for you. Maybe that's Osiris Torrance. Cornerback, maybe. I don't love the DTs. I think they'd be more rotational pieces for you. Brazil kind of scares me a lot. Mozzie Smith scares me too. Receiver, if it's like a JSN, would be a day one starter for you as well. If we did not get to your question, blame Jeremy. Hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. My DMs are open, answering any and all questions that you guys have for us. Let's go back to this question, and then I want to, I get to slap Jeremy again. And we owe shots, and I owe beer cheers, too. Let's hit the super chats here. Samuel Rowe, a.k.a. Landlord from Wakanda. DeLunatic and Matt Batten are him. Tom the Goat, Eagles fans, equal the puking emoji. Cosign, Samuel. Thank you. And Darnell Green, $50. What did the tortilla say to the face? Slap. Let's run it back, Jeremy. I'll pour your shot for you, too, since we did pass 169 in Super Chats. We're now 53 away from another shot in Super Chats. What a time to be alive. You love to see it. Thank you, Darnell. Thank you, DeLunatic. Do you want to do shots first or
We'll do shots.
shots first? Okay.
Mark, Hawaii.
Cheers. These are yours, bud. He backed away because he knew what I was going to do. I was going to do it. There we go. Broke it off. Thank you, Darnell.
This is my life.
This is your life. Just getting slapped by a Cowboys fan. It's a pretty fun life, though, isn't it? I think pretty fun overall. Harrison's coming in now, too.
This makes all the student loans so worth it.
Let's hit the 2 Super Chats. One from Mark, one from Chris B. And then we can come back to those later on. Cheers.
Mark, we need a stud free agent pickup and quality picks in our draft over quantity. I trade our 3rd, 4th, 5th to nab a second number 2 pick, 2 number 2s, a number 1, a stud free agent, and we're set.
Do you know what I like to do that it doesn't really work out that way in reality? I like to move down for my first round pick, get extra assets, and then take those assets and move up from my other second round pick. So I end up with like 2 top 45s instead of one late second.
This is what Tom
This
is what Tom does at like midnight.
I can't sleep. I'll pull up the mock draft sim.
He has Olivia in one hand rocking, and in the other hand he's just making
picks.
Mock draft simulator trades.
There you go. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Another $5 one coming in from Chris B. I'll drink, chugs, read it.
Any decent, I'm guessing, free agent quarterbacks you think would be worth targeting? Maybe Patrick Peterson? Nope. Jamal Dean, Emmanuel Mosley, those are probably out of Cowboys' price range.
Yeah, Peterson's, I think, a little bit too old for me. Jamal Dean will be out of your price range.
I was about to say, Patrick Peterson seems like a stereotypical Cowboys
old Cowboys signing.
Old guy who used to be elite.
Hey, 1 year, $3 million, I'm in.
You sound like Stephen Jones.
I know, but I'm answering questions on players.
So you either die a hero
or you live long
enough to see yourself become
That's what happens when you make me owner. I just get to year 10 and I'm like, I haven't won yet. Shit, I'm not selling. Type of deal. I'm kidding. I'll live behind the bargain. Mosley intrigues me the most. I think he's just going to end up in Houston.
I've seen it been floated in the chat. Would you flirt with James Bradberry?
I would. I think I would have interest. I think the Cowboys would go, too expensive. Nuts.
Almost got it there.
From Grant Rainwater. Same deal, Chugs.
Sign Wagner and D. Payne. Payne got franchise tagged.
He hasn't officially been tagged, but it was
that's their plan.
We're going to, which I think was the leak early, just to see if like a team gets desperate and throws a draft pick at you, a big pick. But I think in the end, Payne will get franchise tag, yeah. From Mark, take it away, Jeremy.
The show should cater to others. Why not spank Jeremy? LOL, aloha to you back gents. How much of an improvement do you think McCarthy will be? So,
if we start doing spanks, I think it has to be $69. I think it has to be that. That is you have to sign off on it. HR has to sign off on it too.
Sure.
Okay. We won't do that every show. We'll do it for today and see how it goes. 100 and the other one, I'll call the other one Daddy in the middle of it too. That's for
this is slowly turning into the Cowboys Report OnlyFans.
This is turning into the Cowboys Bonk Report. How much improvement will McCarthy be? I'm hoping that just those late season stuff, like overall your offense has been very good, but you've had issues against the Niners each year. I hope that the one voice will fix some of that inconsistency issues, which, to be fair, most teams have. I mean, look at the Bills this past year, but I'm hopeful it's just the 5% better. It's all you need right now. You get that 5% better, it's going to go a very long way. From Ryder Kincaid. Jeremy?
What do you
Cheers.
think of the DT Ika out of Baylor with the first-round pick, considering our bad history with drafting defensive tackles in early rounds?
I'm not taking him in round 1. I'm not sure. He'll probably check in that range for round 2. I will say, Jeremy, in my notes this year, I've written the phrase more than I ever have in my entire life. He was better last year. And Siaki Ika fits that exact same mold where I think he put on a little bit of bad weight this year. I think that impacted his play a little bit.
Fatties only.
Yes, but you got to be careful with fatties only because that's been a problem of late.
Balls.
But his pass rush stuff really dropped off this year. I was hoping for a breakout year from 2021. He went the wrong way. I've got a late second-round grade on him. Sheds the bad weight, I'll feel better, but he's more of a round 2 pick. If I had to go with one of the fatties in round 1, well, I'm looking at Mozzie Smith out of Michigan. He's a freak athlete. Now, he has not put it all together yet.
You draft him in round 1?
If I'm taking a fatty in round 1, it'd be Smith over Ika.
That's Mozzie. I've not seen him go higher than the second round.
I have a second-round grade on him.
I haven't seen him go higher than a second in any mock that I've
seen.
And
I'm saying if I have to. I would rather not. But if I'm taking a fatty in round 1, I'm taking
I feel like you're
Smith.
saying this now, but then when they draft him in round 1, you're like, what a reach.
Look,
oh, my God. C+.
I'm saying if I had to, that's the guy I would take, but I would still prefer not to take him.
In what scenario do you have to draft
him? In this scenario, in the
universe I need to. Draft a defensive tackle or else.
Ready for a comp for him, by the way? Your boy DJ Reader. If he can ever unlock that athletic ability.
Oh, I like that.
Where he's got that nose guard but can still push the pocket.
I thought you were going to say
what? Dontari Poe?
No.
Dontari Poe's my comp for Ika.
I thought you were going to do Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, no one's Vita Vea. Vita Vea, there hadn't been a Vita Vea in a long time. All right, John Dorman, $5. Cheers.
Since Vita Vea, some might say. Tom, need you on the main. You and Mitch lives on the main were awesome. Shout out to the hard work y'all put in.
Yeah, I do most of them on Wednesday. Not doing this Wednesday, though, because they'll be down in Indy for the Combine.
How come you don't do main lives on Mondays?
Because we have Cowboys live on Mondays.
Ecuador, man?
Yeah.
AOG.
This is Brian Brzee from Clemson. Scares me. What do you think? I think scares is a good word for it. We're talking I think, top-end athlete who has still benefits from that 5-star hype, but has really not yet put it together. He's missed a lot of games. 11 games played, 4 games played, 10 games played, torn ACL in 2021. A kidney infection that cost him 2 games this year, got sick. He does play with a high pad level too. He's an upside project that could be really good, or he just kind of flames out really fast. So I think scares is a good way to go about it. Chris B. Today, Cowboys need to be one click better.
Did he say that?
He did. And he kept using the phrase, we got to have, our best players be one click better, which is accurate in terms of, if you get 1 or 2 more plays here, you still might be able to beat the Niners, even though you did not play well. But do you know it's a great way to be one click better? Add another fucking player. Add a better receiver who will help you make plays. So he's right, but it would be a lot easier on his team if they had better players around them. So that's what annoys me, that he is correct in that, but he's pushing it off on only the players and not going inward and saying, you know what? If we had one more piece, we'd have been in a better spot.
Steven, I signed the right guys. They just didn't play well.
Pretty much what we're doing there.
I wasn't wrong. I signed the right players. They just didn't play well.
Yeah. The Rams players who are available, you can trade for Jalen Ramsey or, I guess, sign Bobby Wagner. Who would it be? JR for Ramsey, BW for Bobby Wagner. So for you, Jeremy, who would you prefer? Trade for Ramsey, sign Wagner?
For the Eagles or for the Cowboys?
Either.
Ooh. For the Eagles, I think for both teams, I like signing Bobby Wagner over trading
over
for
the trade.
Ramsey.
I would be inclined to agree.
I do have to say, though, a selfish part of me would love Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey on either
That's
side.
such a fun duo.
That would be insane.
That's fun.
Like to have both. I mean, the Eagles like plan ever since the mid 2010s has been get a cheap linebacker. They're really replaceable.
It worked out this year pretty well.
I mean, we've gotten some really good
Who was the one guy they paid?
Nigel Bradham?
Bradham, that's what I'm thinking of, yeah. Like they got him cheap and then paid him.
And they didn't even pay him
it wasn't that much.
They just paid him as like a good starter.
Yeah. That was good. All right, you guys can vote for the Cowboys, JRBW. Plenty of Bobby Wagners in there, no surprise.
Bobby.
Another super chat from Chris B. You need to be one click better in free agency, Catboy. Chris is right.
Bobby.
You got to be. I don't know why we're doing one click. I don't know why that's the new buzzword for Dallas. He did, by the way, say at the end of the day.
You already know what happened was somebody said something along those lines to Steven, and he was like, "Oh, that's good.
That's good. I'm gonna use it.
That's good."
I'm sure it was in one of their meetings with the coaching staff of like someone said one click, but he's like, "I'm in." I love it.
I bet you he was like passing by the gym that they have at the Star in Frisco, and one of the trainers was like, "Hey, you got to get one click better. You got to go up one weight. You got to get one click better." And Steven was like, "You're damn straight."
I like that.
You're damn straight you do.
I agree, Chris. It's just they see like they're right of like gotta be one click better. How don't you help out your team? It blows my mind. All right, we're gonna come back to more super chats, I'm sure, after the final segment of today's show.
$27 away from a shot. Just a reminder, $50. You can slap Tom if you'd like to for $50. He is also being slapped today for $50. If you want to slap Tom.
Only a little bit busted up now.
If you want to slap Tom, that would be great. He's doing it as well today, just letting you know.
Tastes like face. You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Different style show today. Obviously, free agency is a big focal point right now, but I did want to look at some extension candidates for the Cowboys. These are players who are still under contract, who could be getting at least somewhat significantly new large deals. 5 players in mind, beginning with the probably most controversial. Fair or not, that's how it works when you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Everyone loves to hate you and or loves you. There's not much in between. That's just how it goes. That's Dak Prescott. The Cowboys have said publicly they want to extend Dak, which we heard for 3 years. We're going to get a deal done. And they didn't get a deal done and cost themselves quite literally $10 million per year by waiting. Prescott carries a $49 million cap hit this year. And you don't want or need it that high. It's very easy to get out of that deal short term. You can restructure it, bring that number down significantly to where it's much more in line with the fake number of, well, the salary cap percentage, whatever. But a restructure only would put more money into 2024 and into 2025. And that's fine if you're going to treat this as an all-in prove-it year, because then you take the bad money and you actually rebuild. Or if you're like, I'm just going to ride with my top 10 quarterback, the smart thing to do is to extend him. Now, I haven't seen it mentioned. I'm actually a little bit worried about the injury history, hoping that stays away. But Bobby Belt has suggested the number for Dak could be around $46 million. In the event that number actually is $46 million, that should be very appealing to Cowboys fans out there. Let's say it beats Kyler Murray. Let's say it's $46.2 million. You make him the 3rd highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, the Rodgers deal is weird, but remember, we're all worried about the lack of playoff success, right? And I understand that because we're frustrated because, fair or not, Dak's getting 27 years worth of franchise playoff ineptitude loaded up onto his shoulders. Also worth mentioning that Dak has had more playoff success than Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson have had combined. But we always credit Dak because he's the Cowboys quarterback. And remember this part too. Burrow, Herbert, Lamar, and Hurts, whenever they sign their deals this year, next offseason maybe for Lamar, will surpass that Dak Prescott franchise figure. So you make him the 3rd highest paid quarterback right this second, and quite literally within a week even, he's no longer a top 5 highest paid QB. That's actually very team-friendly for what the reality of the quarterback market is at this point. So you can be honest with me, and I know not everyone will agree. It's fine. It's America. Do you want to extend Dak Prescott for America's team? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comments of today's video. Head down there and vote. I get the sticker shock. $46 million is a lot of money. But if that's what it actually is, I am in on that figure. That is a below market deal for a top 10 quarterback. That is significantly cheaper than if Dak wanted to play hardball, which, by the way, he can, because there is a no franchise tag clause and a no trade clause in his deal. If Dak wanted to play hardball with your organization and he's like, I just don't want to be in Dallas anymore, he could play hardball and put you in a tough spot because you put him in a tough spot by waiting all those years ago. I would like some urgency from the Cowboys. I am worried about the Stephen Jones-Todd France relationship, if I'm being honest here, because that was a bit of a dumpster fire a couple of years ago. Hopefully things are better now, but there's really no guarantee of that. If the number is, let's just say $46.5 million, market only goes up. Dak's not top 5 anymore. He'd last even shorter as a top 5 QB if you actually showed urgency for the first time in a long time with some of your better players. Today's Cowboys Report is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health and I wanted something that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. Once I have baby Olivia set up with her breakfast, I make my own AG1. I don't feel the need for caffeine in the morning anymore, and I feel energized throughout the day. Plus, AG1 empowers the gut for whole body health. Covering my nutritional basis today literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Done. I like that it costs less than $3 a day. It's pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, making it a win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link's in the comments and the description of today's video. It's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. The next extension candidate will probably be much more unanimously received. CeeDee Lamb, the star wideout, is now extension eligible, and I think it's actually a relatively speaking easy deal to figure out what the rough ballpark of numbers are here. CeeDee Lamb shares the same agent as DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, and A.J. Brown. All 3 guys who recently signed mega extensions. Now, the Cowboys, if they need it, have the 5th-year option. I don't know what more you would want to see out of Lamb, especially the way he and Dak played together, well, I should say Lamb played, down the stretch. Yeah, there were some drop issues, but this, folks, is what you want to see out of your young number 1 receiver. Getting better each and every single year. The catches, the yards, the touchdowns, all of them went up and rose in the way that we want to see them rise. Now, CeeDee Lamb in the end unquestionably will become one of the highest paid wide receivers in the NFL. It's a matter of what that number exactly looks like here. But it is worth mentioning that we know where DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, and Deebo Samuel fall in that highest paid wide receiver tier hierarchy. Because that gives great insight to factor in, okay, the salary cap has gone up, what the number looks like. My proposal is a 4-year, $104 million deal for CeeDee Lamb. It's $26 million per year. $60 million guaranteed. It's just a little bit more than what Brown and Metcalf and Deebo got. It slots him in as a top 5 highest paid wide receiver. The agent says, I keep getting my young guys paid a little bit more than the last guy. And I think as long as the Cowboys don't lowball Lamb, that deal should be relatively easy to get done. Given what Lamb has done, what A.J. Brown has done over the course of their careers, fairly similar production so far, cap's gone up, pay him a little bit more. Should be a pretty easy deal to get done. Plus, you have the 5th-year option. That deal can be backloaded salary cap-wise. Not going to cost you that much in the short term. Now, if you want to be very informed on the salary cap stuff, it's complicated, I know, but we've got you covered here at the Cowboys Report. News, rumors, updates, and more. It's your one-stop shop for everything Cowboys related. Hit that sub button right now. Trayvon Diggs, next up here. He is extension eligible, and my question mark here is just how close the two sides are really going to be on the money. There is no fifth-year option on Diggs as a second-round pick, but the franchise tag is available as an option in the event Dallas needs it. Trayvon Diggs' interception numbers went down this year, and I'm okay with that. It's funny. Everyone made a big deal over the claim of 1,000 yards allowed. I'm using Pro Football References numbers. No, he didn't. And most yards allowed as a receiver. And no one can tell you who had the most yards allowed this year. It wasn't a Cowboys player, and big media didn't care about it anymore. The completion percentage went up, but the yards went way down because when Diggs got beat, it was mostly short stuff, which is fine. That's not the worst thing to get beats on there. A couple of missed interceptions that really hurt because for a player of Diggs' caliber, we actually count drops against him, that's just how it works. Now, the money is interesting here. I would bet Diggs asks for top-end corner money. We're talking Denzel Ward money, $20 million. And I would bet the Cowboys could go, J.C. Jackson got $16.5 million, and you put up very similar numbers. Why don't we give you a little bit more than J.C. Jackson? And that's a difference of at least $3 million a year, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. But for Dallas, it always is. And I would just wonder if maybe that's the one that causes some issues for good old Catboy. So of the two picks who worked out great so far for Dallas, which deal gets done first? TD for Trayvon Diggs or CD for CeeDee Lamb? Get those predictions in for me in the comments section. As of now, I'm actually going to lead CD. I think that's a pretty easy one to finish up. Let's move to a under-the-radar dark horse here. Tyler Biadasz. Solid starter this season. He's now in the final year of his contract. But I wonder if Biadasz really counts in the good enough to pay in advance and lock him in as your starting center for the next couple of years at minimum. The numbers aren't bad. Didn't allow a sack this year. Much better production than what it was last year. But the run grade was not that elite. I think Biadasz is a starting caliber center. I think you could potentially find another starting caliber center. And do you want to pay Biadasz $9 million a year? Because that's the low end of what the market looks like. I think he's better than Mitch Morse. I think that's $10 million. Do you want to pay $10 million to Tyler Biadasz right now? Maybe he takes a very team-friendly deal, in which case, different conversation. But I think for the cost of what it would probably be, probably a little bit higher than what you're really comfortable doing when it comes to Biadasz and the Cowboys. You also have to trust the Cowboys and obviously do the right thing because they've missed on a lot of these extensions. They were late on DeMarcus Lawrence. They were late on Amari Cooper. They were late on Dak Prescott. They were early on La'el Collins, on Jaxon Smith, on Zeke Elliott. Kind of missed their last 6 big moves there. That's a huge concern. So what is your confidence level in this Cowboys when it comes to self-scouting? 1 to 10 in the comment section. Here's my outlandish, not maybe outlandish, but out-of-the-box, unconventional one. Tyron Smith. Allow me to explain that this is basically the DeMarcus Lawrence extension, but it's really a pay cut disguised as an extension for Tyron Smith. When healthy, starting caliber tackle. And those guys are super expensive. Now, he's aging and not often healthy, and I wonder if he wants to play anywhere but Dallas. I think he's kind of a Dallas or bust guy. So if he wants to keep playing, the contract must look different. Tyron now has a $17.6 million cap hit. You can save $9.6 million by cutting him. $13.6 post June 1st, a good amount of money to save there, but you're pushing money off in the future, / you don't have him anymore. In the event you want to add an impact player like a Tyron Smith, or keep Tyron Smith, I should say, I think you can get creative with the contract and really make it a full-on pay cut from that team. So here's my idea for Tyron Smith. It's an extension that's a little bit disguised. It's a 3-year, $27 million deal, $14 million guaranteed. So most of the money he gets this year becomes guaranteed. And in reality, it's a significant pay cut as an out after 1 year. So the details are this. His cap hit drops to under $10 million. So you're saving about what you would save if you cut him. Now, you're doing that by putting some money off in the future. He has a $14.5 million cap hit next year. You could cut him, though, and save $5.45 million. He's got an $11 million deal in 2025. Cap hit-wise, it's actually a lot more base salary since some of your leftover extension money no longer counts. That's why the cap hit is so different, despite the base salary being $6 million more in 2025 than it is in 2024. So he's not making that much more money. It's $3 million salary in 2023, $4 in 2024. You can cut him, though, and it kind of becomes a 1-year deal where you can bail as early as you need to in the event he needs to retire. So it's an extension, but it's really a major pay cut when it's all said and done for Tyron Smith. It's a more extreme version of that Tank Lawrence extension that kept him on the Cowboys, but brought his money and cap hit down significantly to help out the team and still get to be a member of the Cowboys long term. Let's get to some comments and super chats here as well. Let's revisit the pin poll here. The pin poll today was, is Ezekiel Elliott cooked and washed up? Y for yes, N for no. It is up to 72% say yes, Jeremy. I think we're on the right side of history.
Looks like you have 72% of your audience is pretty smart.
There you go. I like to see it. Get those votes in. Y for yes, N for no. So
the other 28% is still smart. They're just,
of course.
They're just delusional.
There you go. I like it. Y for yes, N for no.
Well, technically 100% are delusional because they're all Cowboys
okay,
fans,
you can shut up.
It all comes to 100%.
There you go.
It all equals out.
Ecuador man, AOG. Mike Mamula, I forgot to pronounce his last name. Mike Mamula? How do you, Boston College Eagles guy. I forgot to pronounce his last name. I know you're talking about, though. The Combine Superstar to flop.
Do you just think I'm a fan of every team that mascot is the Eagles?
Well, the Eagles drafted him, so I would hope that you know who it is.
Mamula? I don't know.
I forgot to pronounce his last name, but I know he was the Combine freak who went number 7 overall.
If you don't know somebody from the Combine, do you really think I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, for sure?
Well, he was an Eagles player, so I couldn't.
Was he an Eagles player, or was he on the practice squad?
He was a first-round pick by Philly. Some fan Jeremy is. Yes, he was.
When?
A long time ago, but long-ish. Long by my age.
And he's talking about...
you were born, I think.
I literally...
What year were you born?
Mamula.
Mike Mamula? I forgot Mamula. I forgot to pronounce his last name. But yes, he is like the ultimate Combine freak who wasn't that good in the NFL.
He was drafted before.
How do you pronounce his last name?
He was drafted before I was born. Don't you remember?
Mike Mamula? How do you pronounce his last name? That Combine bust guy.
A guy who was drafted in 1995.
Mike Mamula. And
drafted in 1995. Tom, you don't know him?
He was an Eagle.
Dude,
That's what I said. I don't love some guys that I think are going to be great athletes, but you're just kind of banking on them being athletes right now, or guys like Brian Brzee. I'm a little bit worried about Keon White. I don't love that. Luke Musgrave, I'm not as in love with either. Other players who I think are going to test well that I'm not as high on. It might be Anthony Richardson. That might be the way that one ends up going down.
Do you remember Danny Noonan?
Noonan? The Cowboys pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Where did he come out of?
I don't remember where he came out of. I know he played cornerback or something.
Not even close.
Or defensive end.
Defensive tackle.
Okay, that's close enough. Whatever.
How do you not know this guy, dude? You're a Cowboys fan. He was a first-round pick.
What year were you born in?
You idiot.
See, he was gone by the time I was born.
Oh.
Mike Mamula wasn't.
Yeah. How can I forget the 1999 season whenever I was 3 years old.
Sounds like
unforgettable.
Sounds like you weren't smart enough as a kid, Jeremy. That's all I hear. All right, let's get to some more super chats before we get off track here. We are 8 away from shots, by the way. That's always fun. Crispy, the injured Dak do scare me if we extend. Yeah, I agree. I made that point. I am a little bit worried here. I stay healthy, right? And everything's fine, but injuries at QB always raise some red flags. A healthy offseason, I think, will help Dak as well.
Odds that Chase knows who Mike Mamula is.
I'm going to go at least 75%.
You think so?
I think so. He's my age. He'll remember him a little bit more. I'm going to go 75%. You can message Chase if you want, since he's not out there.
No, because then he'll look it up.
It's for a bet without cheating. Do you know who Mike Mamula is, or how do you pronounce his last name? Because I just can't remember how to pronounce his name.
Harry, when Chase walks out, send him in here.
Yeah.
I gotta ask him.
$5 from Jay Elam. I'll drink. Jeremy Reeds. Bottoms up.
How soon could the Cowboys start signing free agents?
Players who have been cut, they can sign whenever if it's processed properly. Otherwise, you got to wait till the March 15th date. So, a couple weeks for the majority of actual players. That's all we're waiting on that standpoint. So, good question, Jay. Give it, could is probably 2.5 weeks. Will might be more like 5, but you know how it is. All right, next super chat coming in from Jeremy Chugs' burner. I drink Chugs' read.
Possibly a dumb question, but why doesn't Dallas roll with Tyron at left tackle and Tyler at left guard? Only have to worry about right tackle and backup left guard. Lots of needs.
I think the big reason is the money for Tyron. Do you want to have him $17 million on the cap coming off injuries? I actually thought Tyler played better at left tackle than he did at left guard. Which is significant. I think the money and the age and injury problems, even if you're rolling with Tyler Smith at left tackle, you got to have a backup plan in place. It's probably, at this point, the insurance premium, it's gone way up. It's expensive now. All right, here we go.
Chase, quick question. Do you know who Mike Mamula is?
Yes.
Suck it, Jeremy.
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce his
Mike
last?
Mamula,
Mike Mamula? Okay, because I couldn't remember how to pronounce it.
Was it the number 2 pick?
I think it was 7, but yeah, first round. See?
In 1995, 96.
He nailed it!
Why is he?
Someone had asked who's the next combine bust star.
It all came about when Tom's dumbass didn't know
I couldn't remember how to pronounce his last name.
Mamula,
Well, Tom had no idea who Danny Noonan
First
was.
off, it's not how the conversation went, Jeremy.
What an idiot. He had no idea who Danny Noonan was.
I
Cowboys
couldn't
legend.
remember if it was Mamula or like Mamula, like how to pronounce his last name. So I'm like, Jeremy, how do you pronounce it? He goes, I don't know who that is. I'm like, you said he was an Eagle draft pick.
yeah. So wait, this
Sam Jordan says,
these are Cowboys first rounders.
Sam Jordan says Jeremy's a fake fan, question mark.
Because Tom's claim is, if you're a fan of a team, you need to know all of their first round picks.
Not what I said either.
Yeah. You know,
Not what I said.
CD Lamb was a great draft pick by the Cowboys, but he still hasn't played in an NFC Championship game.
Yeah, Danny Noonan probably has, and you don't even know who that is.
He would have. 92, he would have. Nice try, Jeremy. Take that L. Chris B. I drink. Jeremy Reeds.
Catboy gonna offer CD $20 million and Dig $16 million a year and make everything difficult. Don't trust him to make these big time contracts easy.
I am worried.
It's funny because it's true.
If they lowball him, it's just going to be a disaster. Like, we know what the cost is going to be for Lamb. It's going to be 25 plus. You start at 20, it just pisses off the agent. That's all it is. Like, why are you wasting my time starting solo? Let's get this done. So, Chris B, I hope you're wrong, but you're probably not wrong. This one's for you too, Jeremy.
Cunningham was drafted before you were born, Jeremy. That is true. He plays a more notable position in quarterback.
I think Zach Cunningham was a linebacker.
God.
Kidding. All right.
So wait, you didn't know
Danny Noonan.
Danny Noonan. Do you know the guy who was drafted right before him in 1986?
Probably not. Can I get a school? Can I get a school?
UCLA.
Doesn't help me at all. Position?
Wide receiver.
Doesn't help me at all.
First name Mike.
Cox?
No.
Sorry. Who is it?
Mike Oxlong.
Okay. See. Okay. So we're on the same page. That's what I thought. Dude, I was watching the. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock here for supers since we are 6 away from shots, and then I'll tell you the story I have here. 2 minutes on the clock. So the supers are coming in. Have you watched the Full Swing on Netflix yet?
I have not.
So it's good. But in one of the episodes, they've got like these kids on for like the kids of the golfers, and they're making Mike Oxlong jokes to the other pro golfers. Like, and I'm like, I can't believe Netflix is putting this up there. They make like 5 straight jokes getting different tour players. Absolutely hysterical.
Also, we are $5 away from shots.
I wouldn't mind doing one more shot before we go.
$50. You can also slap Tom if you'd like.
Or slap Jeremy.
Tom is willing to get slapped for $50.
And so is Jeremy.
Tom told me $60. I can cover a tortilla in hot sauce.
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what I said.
At all.
Tom said he's down for that.
It's not what I said. Jeremy again, just lying on air. Nose is so long. A minute left, and we'll sign off.
Joke?
No, that was gonna be a Pinocchio joke.
Tom getting really racial out here.
If I offended you, I'm sorry.
He made a big nose joke to me just now.
Because he's a liar.
Wow.
Thank you, Harrison.
Nope, he said you and Coop, huge
That's
noses.
not what I said. Not what I said at all.
Easily, top 2 noses in the office, you, Coop. Rolly a little bit because he's like half Jewish.
I think that one's offensive. I'm not sure. Here's our super chat menu, folks. Any super chat?
Wow, Tom.
Shout out. $5 beer cheers.
Being Jewish is offensive now to Tom. Apparently.
20 shots.
We have Kyrie Downey, host of the Cowboys Report.
Where's Coop at?
Tom Ye West.
Where's Coop at?
Thank you.
That's a good one.
my burner put that in there. Tom Ye West.
That's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. The ski master's wear. 54 tortillas. One last call. We are $6 away from shots, but the timer's up, Jeremy.
Oh.
I don't think we're gonna get there.
That's
gonna
sad.
be a big.
We're so close to shots.
That's disappointing. Makes me sad.
You win some, you lose some. If you're the Cowboys, you lose a lot.
And if you're the Eagles, you blame a holding call. If you want free videos every single day, I've been pretty nice to you about that.
We're gonna talk about holding.
I was pretty nice about that one overall. I've been pretty nice to you. If you want Cowboys videos every single day, make sure you guys are subscribed. We'll have some from the Combine videos for you this week. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We did not get there, Jeremy. It's okay.
Sad.
But show's gonna end. We'll sign off here.
If this was an Eagles channel, we would have gotten there.
Well, I don't think they finished that great either this year. They would have gotten to like 268 and then lost. No. On that note, we'll sign off. We'll see you guys later.
Shitty joke.
That was great.